This week's build brings with it the start of Havoc tuning as well as a few other minor changes, so today we're going to talk about them. Alright, so like I said, Havoc tuning has started. Now I will say, not a lot of changes for Havoc this week's build. Most classes at this stage aren't going to be changed too much. There are a few that probably will be. Havoc, probably not one of them. There are some changes we're talking about though, and I will go over them, as well as one thing to keep an eye out for the future. This video will not be very long. You're probably only a few minutes because there's not much to talk about. However, I will say tonight I will be live doing some raid testing on Havoc. Tomorrow I'm busy, so I won't be there, but I am planning on doing a normal raid on the weekend as well. So check those out if you want. And we're so close to 1,000 subs, so if you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out. Alright, let's get into it. So Demon Hunter. So if you scroll through here and you look, I'm on Wowhead, by the way. Really, you can see that everything kind of gains a buff. And basically what this buff is, and the easiest way to look at it is right here, just an 8% buff. So 11% to 11.88% is about an 8% buff. Everything here is about an 8% buff. Realistically, all they're doing, if I go down, is just make it so that our aura that was there before, that didn't exist, that was an 8% aura, which they moved to 0. They've kind of given it back to us, just putting it in all of our abilities. So that's kind of the tuning that's happening now. They fixed all of our damaging bugs, so if you're like, oh my god, Havoc was busted, why they buff us? All the bugs that were, kind of crazy and making us do incredible damage should be fixed now, so you don't have to worry about those. So they're kind of just giving us the aura back without actually giving us the aura, and kind of seeing where that works and letting that ride. A few other bug fixes. Blur should be back in the tree. It's around here somewhere. I think it's up here. Yeah, Blur now is a Havoc spell, so we have Blur back again. It was just a bug that wasn't there. They've updated the tooltip for enemies necessary to do Arcane, Fire, Frost, Nature, and Shadow damage. So, if we ever have a way of doing holy damage, it can't be dealt as Chaos, which is funny, but realistically not really going to be used. Holy, I'm pretty sure, also is the only single school of magic not in Chaos, so it makes sense that it's not in there. This here is just going to be equal to your mastery. It's not actually giving you any damage bonus. It's just going to be changing your mastery now. Now also causes your Arcane, Fire, Frost, whatever, and increase that damage. And then if you have the speed thing, it also increase your speed. So this isn't a buff. This is just going to be the same as your mastery already was. They're just making their tooltip more clear. So that's really it for Havoc changes. There's one more thing in... Ooh, I clicked something I shouldn't have clicked. There's one more thing in the class trees. They renamed a bunch of talents. More Bionics is Accelerating Blade. Weak Willed is Soul Crush. They changed some stuff in the class tree. Doesn't really matter. The only other change, Precise Sigils. Now increase the duration of sigil effects by 2 seconds. So this is the choice node, where you either have the choice of putting your sigils down under your feet and making them increase by 2 seconds, or under your target's feet and increase by 2 seconds. The choice node is still really bad. Losing control of where you want to put your sigils is not a good time. It's not really fun. Really, choice node is still bad there. And the last thing to talk about is this post here. So Blizzard did a post on party and raid utility change in Dragonflight Beta. Now our raid buff has not changed. Our 5% magic damage is still going to be there. It's going to be unchanged. However, what they are taking a look at, besides the nerf to Restless Crew, by the way, each party member may only benefit from this effect once per 2 seconds. So basically every 2 seconds you can have 1 to 1.2 seconds off your cooldown. Big nerf there, but this isn't a rogue channel. Where is it? Here. So, in addition to the changes below, we're also taking a look at Restless Crew for LL Rogues, and the scope of Demon Hunter's crowd control capabilities available in the talent trees. So, for those of you who aren't aware, Havoc Demon Hunter has a crazy amount of crowd control right now. They have Imprison, they have a slow from Vengeful Retreat, they have Silence Circle, Sigil, they have Misery Sigil, and they have a single target stun if you spec into it on the spec tree, and they have the AoE stun still in the class tree. Plus the ability to make the AoE stun have a shorter cooldown, and the sigils have a shorter cooldown. So Havoc right now has a lot of stops, a lot of them being really strong AoE stops, or effects that don't go on the DR too often. Stuns are there quite often, but Sigil of Misery is a fear, or not a fear. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's not a common one. And Silence is just a super powerful effect. So what they're doing here is they're looking at the availability of them on the class tree, Chaos, Nova, Sigil, Misery, Sigil, Silence, and talking about maybe reducing the overall number you have. See, it says, contributes to a large amount of control for one character. We don't have any additional information at this time. We want to give the community a heads up. So, look forward to, not look forward, but expect a change to those. I imagine what they're going to do is put Sigil of Misery and Sigil of Silence on a choice node. The fact that we can get both sigils as well as Sigil Mastery if needed really means we have a large array of CC currently. Possibly too much for a single spec, especially because it's all AoE. Rogues have a lot, but it's all single target stuff. But we have a fair bit of AoE CC, especially in our stun and all that stuff. So expect that to change. I expect them just to put Sigil, Misery, and Silence on a choice node, so you're going to get one or the other, or just to make it more of an investment to get Misery, or more of an investment to get Silence, or something like that. But that's coming out there. That's just going to change. They've changed a few other buffs. I'll go over them here. Why not? So Druid's one is now a verse, 3% verse for the party. Evoker Zephyr is now 4 allies in you instead of your party. Hunter, there's no more magic damage reduction on their Owl. It's now just Leech. Monk is now healing taken from all sources within 10 yards. I think this used to be Avoidance. Paladin, Prot is the only class that has Spell Warding. And then Shaman, they've made the totems affect more than just the parties and just affect the 4 nearby allies. So they've done some changes here. But the Havoc Demon Hunter one is the one I wanted to talk about because we should probably expect to see a reduction in our CC and all that. So that's it for today. There weren't a lot of changes. Bug fixes are really big though, which means we can actually start testing stuff. Raid testing's coming up. Going to be doing some dungeon videos of different builds because we can actually test things and have a reasonable outlook on what's happening and what's being done now, which I think is really good. So realistically, Havoc Demon Hunter still in a great spot. We'll see how the tuning ends up. We'll see whenever our tier set comes out. We have Arcane Mage tier set only, but I expect them to be out before Mythic testing happens, which I believe is next week. Don't quote me on that though. But yeah, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. We're close to 1,000, so if you enjoyed it, hit the sub button. I should have another video out tonight about the raiding changes, like the gear changes during raiding. So look forward to that because that's actually a pretty big post. I want to talk about that. But yeah, so thanks for watching the video and have a good one.